friends, it's Gwen and I'm back today with a craft room tour. Yes, I have finally got into my studio and recorded some footage for you all. I have been meaning to record this video for the longest time, over a year. It's been on my list of things that I would love to share with you. And today's the day. I'm finally giving you a tour of my crafty space. Got lots to share with you. I will try and include details of the brands of things if I have them, and I will include that all in the description box below. Okay, so my craft space is actually just a bedroom in our home, and all of the pieces in here are freestanding. So if you're renting, you could totally achieve this look. Nothing is attached to a wall anywhere. And a lot of it has come from Ikea, starting with the main storage unit in the space, and that is this Kallax bookcase. So it's 5x5. And then on either side of that, I actually have two of the smaller bookshelves in the same style that are 2x2. And I was very lucky in that the 2 and then the 5 and then the other 2 actually fit along that wall perfectly. I have also managed to fit along this wall 2 pieces of custom furniture. The first one is this one, and it was designed to house many of the Couture Creations stackable storage bins. So I'll show you how I use those in a moment here. I do have a bunch of these. I scrapbook by manufacturer, so it makes sense for me to just store everything by manufacturer, and I like to keep everything together, and I just put them all into a 12 by 13 inch Ziploc bag. So there's 3 collections in here. Yeah, so this is the Daydream collection, I believe. And so my pattern papers go at the back, the stickers and smaller embellishments go towards the front. And if I have any doubles up, sometimes I have that for Coco Vanilla Studio, having been on their design team. I do keep those separate just so that I can stack the papers and everything as flat as possible, just so that I can fit as much as possible in the container. So that's them there. I do show you here a little bit of footage of the ephemera, and I have mentioned this before. I pop those usually into a smaller Ziploc bag and then cross off the embellishments as I'm using them. I also have this pack here, which you can see in the Ziploc bag, and I'm going to share with you here in a moment how the shelf works. So these boxes are stackable, but when you stack them, if you want to grab the container at the bottom of the stack, obviously you have to lift all of the boxes off from on top of it. And that was driving me mad because they're quite heavy and I have quite a few in the stack. So the piece of furniture here has tracks in the side where the boxes slide into. So each box is actually very separate from the other boxes. So I could move any box that's in this shelf unit independently. So see this one, I don't have to lift off the top box to get access to the second box here. And it has been a game changer for me. I love this unit so much. The bulk of my collections go in here. The stuff that I'm using all the time is stored here. So I'm in and out of these boxes a lot, and it's been really nice to have it work so well for me. The other thing that my OCD just loves about this is that its outer dimensions are exactly the same as the Kallax drawer unit that sits underneath it. So this whole wall just sort of fits together really, really beautifully. And I love that it's sort of a feature wall and houses all of my bits and pieces all together. I have mixed and matched storage with pretty things. I know I have a lot of supplies, but I don't have as much as maybe some people might think, and that's very purposeful. And I do like to have opportunities or areas in my craft room where I can display pretty things rather than have it be all supplies. I feel like I would just get very overwhelmed if I had all of this just storage of supplies. So I do fill out the space with pretty things as well. Now, this is the other custom piece of furniture that I've had made, and it stores both of my Cameo machines. So Cameo 3, Cameo 4 has a lovely big drawer at the bottom, which I store all of my cutting supplies in. So I've got lots of cutting mats there. I've got my adapter for my Mac. Those are excess cutting blades. I think there's some other things in there too, actually. Yes, that is a foil quill that is not opened yet. It was on the list of things to get experimenting with, and I just haven't got there. So yeah, that's where they stay. They're not in use there. That's just where they're stored. I do tend to binge cut these days. So once I've finished that, I do like to put them away, and they sit in the corner of my room. So there's a bit of a perspective shot for you so you can kind of see where everything is at. And above the cameos, I have my Overletti vintage typewriter. I love this thing so much. I should use it more. I go through phases where I type on all my layouts and then I kind of pop it up there and tend not to. So I will get back to that. I am also going to share with you quite a few of the drawers. If I miss a drawer, chances are it's because it's empty. I have talked a little bit about it on my channel. I get overwhelmed with supplies when I have too many, so I try not to have too many. So for example, here are all of my thickers. They need to fit into that drawer. When there's too many for that drawer, I purge, I use up, or I stop buying thickers. Now, in terms of dies, I keep all of my supplies for the Sizzix machine in 2 drawers. This one houses the plates and my embossing folders and the thicker cutting dies, the ones that cut fabric. And then this drawer is all of the regular thinlet dies. The machine itself does fit into my Calyx unit because I have the fold away machine. So that's how I store the little thinlet dies. I do have them all packaged in envelopes, labeled. Don't have a lot of them. A few of the roller stamps are in there. I do have a bit of a stash of Distress Oxides. So when they first came out, I really thought that I would use them, so I bought quite a few. I do like them, and you will know if you've watched a lot of my videos that I'm not super into mixed media. So I guess this is probably too many, to be perfectly honest, for me. But I like the softness of the oxide, and I really do want to try and incorporate it in my clean mixed media way into some more layouts. I kind of go through phases. I have done a lot of that in the past, and I do want to try some more of that too, because when it works out, I really love those layouts. It's just a matter of getting it to work out. Anyway, here's my camera that I use for mainly taking photos of layouts and family stuff. This is a drawer of shimmers. I do love the shimmers paints, mainly the ones that dry in the pots, but I do have a couple of the different types. I do have a couple of little sets from Spiegel Mum Scraps, which have the sequins and the coordinating shimmers sprays. Again, kind of fits into that. Maybe it's like fantasy scrapbook Gwen really wants to do a lot more mixed media, but will I? Who's to know? Who's to know? I also do have a couple of sets of the Prima watercolors. These are really pretty, and I have used these with Caitlin. Actually, we have watercolored together and just used that as a little crafting exercise that we can do together, and I've used those to do that. I do have some cheaper watercolors in here as well, some palettes, and the watercolor paper lives in the drawer below here. And in the next drawer, you're going to find my extensive washi tape collection. These containers were overflowing, full to bursting, but I don't buy washi tape anymore, so I've been using that up slowly. I store my Canon selfie all on its own in that cube there. And here is my cardstock collection. This is all the cardstock that I own, and it fits in 2 of the Universal Crafts 12 by 12 paper holders. And 2 of those and 1 of these fit perfectly within a cube of the storage unit. Now, these are actually fridge organizers. They come from Kmart. They are $5 and they are called, clear fridge organizers. They fit the 12 by 12 pattern papers of a collection which I have placed in a Ziploc bag. So essentially the same thing that I've done with the boxes from Couture Creations, except the packs are standing upright. So I have kind of sectioned those off as well because I do have quite a few of those within the unit. I think I've put the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Boy collections in one. I have some Pink Fresh Studio in others. I have Simple Stories and Echo Park in together as well in those boxes, all just in their little baggies, and I can flick through them and see what I want to use, grab out the whole collection, and then get creating with that. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this. This is one of my most prized things in this room. Oh, I love this so much. It is an original by Wendy Brightbill. So it's in pasto and oil paint and mixed media kind of collage thing that Wendy created. Wendy is an artist foremost, and she also makes, which I did not know, stencils for Stencil Girl. She has an Etsy shop. I will link it below. Oh my gosh, her paintings are amazing. She does a lot of florals and really they have like a vintage feel. They're right up my alley. Oh, I love that so much. And in fact, secret squirrel, I've actually asked her to make me another painting for another wall in this room, and I cannot wait to see what she makes for me. So excited. Now, it wouldn't be a craft room tour without a Raskog cart, and here is mine. My desk is actually a dining room table. It is not an office desk, so it doesn't have drawers. So I essentially use my Raskog as a set of movable drawers. So no matter where I'm working on my desk, I can have my supplies right on hand. I'm going to show you in a moment some punches. Before that, this little area has a little bit of the cut to you business stuff. Most of that is stored in the cupboard, which I'm not going to go into. That little stash there are all of the new collections into the studio. So if it's new, I've purchased it, I've unboxed it, it goes there. And then once I've created with it a couple of times and I'm more familiar with what's in the collection, that's when it then gets sort of moved from that area into the other spots on the other wall. I found when I didn't do that, when I got something new in the studio and just filed it away straight away, I would forget that I had it. So this has really helped me to get a couple of layouts done with my newer supplies, and then helps me remember that I have them for later. I will mention here too that this shelf is another Kallax, so it's 2x4 and I've got it running lengthways rather than upright. The whole bottom row are the D-ring albums that I use to store some of my layouts in. We'll get to the others soon. I like the top that I have a lot of space on the top too, so it's often like an overflow area from my desk. And then I have some pretty crystals from my sister's crystal shop called Someday Dream Co. So they all live down at the bottom end there with the teacup set that you see in the videos and some other pretty bits and bobs. So this is the view sort of from the other corner of the room out towards the door. And so you can see here too that the desk is actually in the center of the room. The desk doesn't butt up to any of the shelves or any of the walls. It's an island, so you can walk all the way around it. I have also included here a little bit of footage of my recording setup. That's how I record the YouTube videos. So it's a very primitive kind of setup. It's nothing fancy at all. I do have a couple of lights that I add as well, but they will put away for this video. And some more footage of the bulk of my supplies. You will see there too, there's a couple of Christmas boxes. That's mixed collections or mixed manufacturers, Christmas lines. I do keep them separate. There's my pink fresh goodies, and they're all separated out by collection as well. So each bag represents a collection from Pink Fresh Studio. You'll see here in a moment, I'm going to open the drawer. This is my mic, so that's where that's stored. That's all that's in that cupboard. Underneath there are a bunch of my card making supplies. I used to do a lot more card making, but that's it for now. And now, here's where we get a little bit controversial because here are my other layouts stored. Now, they should be in their own separate little bags, and I will get to that one day. But currently, if I were to make a layout and then file it away, it would go in here. I do have in the cupboard larger boxes as well, large plastic boxes, and I store them the same way, upright, filled to the brim boxes. This cube here is all of the layouts that were published in Scrapbooking Memories as part of my creative team time there and the year that I was a Scrapbooking Memories master. They're all in together. They are in the little plastic sleeves, and it goes magazine and then the layouts that were in that magazine and then the next magazine, because we used to get a copy of the magazine we were in as well. So that's all there. And you know what? It's really, necessity creates invention. It's come to this because albums are so darned expensive and I make a lot of layouts. So I actually have not been putting my layouts in albums. I know. I'm not sure if that will change in the future, but that's how it is now. So, there's that. Onwards to adhesive. I have a whole drawer of adhesive. I've got the liquid that I use being the Scotch Quick Dry and then the Nuvo Deluxe. This is the adhesive I use to re-sticky my silhouette cut machine mats. You can re-stick those with that. That tape I get from Spotlight in bulk, and then I've got the Express standard tape that I use. These two boxes are at the bottom of the unit there, and they are my slow stitching supplies. I like to do this as well. I slow stitch a lot when we're out in our caravan, when we're out off grid. I don't have power, I don't have the internet, and I really enjoy sitting in the breeze doing my slow stitching. So I do have 2 boxes of supplies of like vintage buttons, vintage fabric. I do get them from a place called So Salvaged. I haven't bought anything from there for a little while just because when I first got into it, I just bought all the things. So I do have quite a big stash of this stuff as well. Yeah, that's one of her kits. She makes them, they're themed and they're really fun and great. Love them. Okay, so on to the set of drawers that are by the front door of the room, the front door. There is a set of drawers there that the TV stands on. And I have some more mixed media supplies. I don't know what to do about that. We'll see. I think that's going to have to change. Here's where I store my photos. It's a photo storage box. There is a little bit of overflow. This set of drawers is pretty empty, and the only reason I'm keeping it is pretty much because the TV's on top of it, and it's a really great height to be able to watch telly while I'm sitting at my desk. And if I were to get rid of it, I'm not sure where I would put my telly. So for now it's staying. Oh, sequins. So this box here is a Tupperware container for haberdashery. It's got thread and just regular sewing type things in it. And that is my sequin stash. Here's where I keep all the 3D foam that I get in bulk from Spotlight and my Copic markers. Yeah, so I have a few of these because I used to make a lot of cards. I was in the card making magazines and I used to do a lot of stamping and colouring in. And I do see that that's something that I would get back to as well. It's a lovely activity for off-grid, and when we're in the van, you can't always scrapbook when I'm away. It's a lot to take with us. But these kinds of things, my card making, like my colouring in of stamps and the slow stitching is really what I do when we're away. Okay, so this is my sequin storage box. It has EMC written on the back. I don't know if that's the brand. I have had a quick Google search and I found a similar one from Universal Crafts. I got this box forever ago, and I will continue. I'm going to try and find a link for you. So I've got all of those sequins, the unbranded kind of sequins in the storage box. And then I keep my Spiegel Mum scrap sequins because they've all got their names and the cards and they come packaged perfectly. I actually just keep them all in a clip container, and that's all of my sequins. That's an empty drawer. See, I do have empty drawers. No, I believe there is a couple of pocket pages. I was using these for my December daily for the Elf on the Shelf, so I do have a couple of leftovers of those in there. I actually like to cut them apart as well and use them as to make tag albums and like little shake pockets and things like that. So I will be using those for that as well. A few little ribbons in a bottle. I don't have a lot of stash of ribbons and flowers like I used to. I used to have a lot more of that stuff. Mainly because I guess now I am really scrapping by collection and by manufacturer, and the flower manufacturers seem to be a separate thing, and they're just not top of my mind these days. A few other little details to share with you, some of the vintage little pieces. Anything you see really is vintage, like there's teacups, there's little tiles that come from, there's a floral tile that came from a bathroom. There's a vintage tin. I really love this stuff. I love old. The books are all vintage. The trophies are mine from my dancing days. And the swans are vintage. That's a vintage swan. That bowl and the buttons, all vintage. That bowl belonged to, or that little stand there, that belonged to my mother. This little chest of drawers, again, a little vintage find that I love. And it's got a few bits and pieces in there. That's all my Charms Creations, a little Aussie business, handmade embellishments. That's all those there. And I think there's some crystal overflow in the bottom drawer. Yeah, so I love these little details, and they just, I don't know, they inspire me, they make my heart happy. So why not have them around? It shouldn't just be packed to the rafters full of supplies. I feel like I'm a better crafter when there's space and room to breathe and beautiful things around me that inspire me as well. I feel like this room really represents who I am. It's the one room of the whole house, I guess, that I have full control over its contents. I get to decide every little piece that's in here. So it does feel like it's a big part of me and who I am. So I've been really keen to get this shared with you. I wanted to share with you this space for the longest time. Here's another little close-up of my filming setup. So yeah, it's a clamp. The desk was too large for the clamp to actually clamp onto. So we got a clamp to screw into the desk, which the clamp could then clamp onto. I hope that makes sense. So, and actually helped because it meant it was further away from the side of the desk. It comes out towards the center of the desk a lot further because of that. Little set of drawers with bits and pieces, nothing really exciting in here, just stationery bits and bobs. Again, lots of breathing space, nothing is packed into too much. And I think I'm going to leave you with a couple more pans of the room so that you can see all the details. Yes, it is usually this clean. Again, comes back to that. I would feel so overwhelmed in a really messy space. I couldn't be creative in a room that was overwhelmingly messy. So it does stay pretty much like this. I do like to clean up after every single layout that I make. And yeah, thank you so much for spending your creative time with me. If you have any questions about the supplies or any of the storage, as I've mentioned, I will try and link them below. and I'll give you as much info as I can. I'm going to leave you with one more look at my beautiful Wendy Brightbill original, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, bye!